Hello amigos, ¿cómo está? My name is Dan and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking all about Mexico versus Belgium. Pretty much because of through a Chivas screen, should I say? Obviously, there's a bunch of Chivas players that played and featured in this game, and the first thing I want to say is absolutely laughable that anyone thought that Ochoa was going to be starting any of these games in goal. It was clear and obvious to anyone with a half a brain that Tala now is the undisputed Mexico number one. He's a player that is a goalkeeper that Gutierrez has chosen. Obviously, Malagon getting injured probably helped in that decision, but I think Rangel might have been number one even with Malagon going. And yeah, it's laughable that anyone could think that Ochoa was going to come in and start these two games and somehow audition for the role. I mean, it's just funny to me. Some hardcore journalists out there and, USA media outlets and personalities, Her Gomez, trying to kind of, muddy the water a little bit, add a little bit of like suspicion and debate and whatever. Like, no. Put that one down right away because Ochoa is not going to be starting any games in the World Cup for Mexico unless some absolute travesty happens. Tala started and played both of these games, and I thought he acquitted himself very well. Obviously, he conceded a goal, especially against Belgium, but overall, I think Tala had a really good game, a bunch of really good saves. I think he proved himself more than adequate for the number one role in the goalkeeping position. I think he was the only player that played all of both games. So, as far as the last two friendlies before the World Cup go, I think Mexico did very well in general. Really, two draws. Having considered the fact that these two teams absolutely spanked the USA at the same time, I think the draws are pretty decent. Trying to keep my feet on the ground though, I think everyone's got to kind of keep a level head. Some people are even disappointed at a draw, not a win. I mean, that shows you how the Mexican fan base is really. They're always highly, have high expectations. Yeah, maybe Mexico did deserve to win at least two of these games, or at least one of these games. I think Belgium in particular, I think they could have gone on to win if they'd hadn't let Belgium score, but overall, I think draws a pretty decent result. And obviously, you don't want to get carried away. You don't think, oh, this Mexico team can go far in the World Cup. You never know. Similar to preseason for me, you can annihilate teams in preseason, have the best preseason, and then go and lose the first game in the league. So, all that matters right now is the first game of the World Cup. But this is good signs. It's encouraging. Belgium and Portugal are no jokes. They both pretty much I think guaranteed to get out of the group stage. But beyond that, I mean, I don't expect any of them to get pretty too deep into the tournament. But the fact that Mexico went toe to toe with them, and the fact that the USA's golden generation got absolutely spanked by these two teams, shows. If you look at the big picture, you think, well, maybe Mexico aren't quite the underdogs that everyone's trying to make them out to be. So yeah, I just want to begin this video talking about Tala because I think the goalkeeping position was the most talked about. Obviously, with Malagon's unfortunate injury, you never want to see that happen. Blatantly would have gone to the World Cup instead of Ochoa if he'd been fit. The idea and the notion that Ochoa could seriously be the number one goalkeeper was always laughable. It was always funny. I love Ochoa. He's one of my favourite Mexico players ever, but there comes a time when enough is enough. And to be fair though, his experience in World Cups is going to be invaluable for Rangel. I think he's going to go there as a glorified coach. I think he's going to be a good goalkeeping coach for Rangel. I think he's going to learn a lot from Ochoa. And I just want to start the video talking about that because they're going to really bug me a little bit because it's blatantly obvious that Rangel is now the number one goalkeeper for Mexico. Probably I would say only for this World Cup run, but you never know. If he does well, if he goes to Europe, maybe he stays on for the next one. But jumping the gun a little bit there. Obviously, as for the other players, the other big talking point is Hormiga. The striking position, everyone knows that Raul Jimenez is the number one striker for Mexico. Santi Jimenez was the second striker, but he's been out for God knows how long. He's only just started to come back. He hopefully gets a decent run with AC Milan before the World Cup and gets back to game fitness and match fitness and back to his best. Having said that, Milan were hardly playing him before he got injured, so question marks about that. I love Santi Jimenez, I really do, but I feel like he's not going to be in the best position, best conditions, should I say, for the World Cup. But obviously he's going to go. Their third striker spot apparently is going to go Berterame. Very, very controversial for me. Look, I'm in a mixed bag with this whole Hormiga thing. Obviously, from a Chivas perspective, Bertrame being the third striker, which apparently is going to happen now. Apparently, Aguirre's let it slip somewhere that Hormiga is the one that's not going to go to the World Cup. Outrageous decision, in my opinion, but we'll get to that. Bertrame hasn't done anything for Inter Miami right now. He's played well for Monterrey, don't get me wrong, I think he's a decent striker, but he's not brilliant, and the fact that he hasn't scored in the MLS yet is a bit worrying. And then you got Hormiga, who is undoubtedly the most prolific Mexican striker on the planet at the moment. He's banging in goals for fun. He's 22 years old. Okay, he's lacking experience, but even the games against Belgium and Portugal, especially Portugal, he had a very, very, very nearly miss. He could have scored a goal in that game, probably would have won it. He's always in and around the box. He always knows where the goal is. He's always in a good position, and he's banging in the goals for fun at Chivas. And to have Berterame and Hormiga standing side by side, all their stats, and even their performances in these two games, and you sit there going, "No, I'll go with Berterame." It's a little bit outrageous in my opinion. Massive L from Aguirre if this happens. Don't get me wrong, Hormiga not going to the World Cup doesn't hit me that hard in terms of Chivas. We need Hormiga in the Liga. Obviously, we still got to reach Liga first, but it's looking likely we're going to get to Liga. I feel like this is going to be a special season for Chivas. It could be a special season for Chivas. Club America are not that great at the moment. Actually, they're terrible at the moment. Tigres are okay. Rayado's a bit crap at the moment. Cruz Azul are not great at the moment. Even Toluca are not brilliant at the moment. This season's wide open, and at the moment there's a reason why Chivas are the best team in the league at the moment, and Hormiga's the big part of that. So if he doesn't go to the World Cup, okay, well, cool. He's going to help us in Liga. We might actually win something this year. Who knows? Touch wood. But I feel like what more, from Hormiga's point of view, what more does he have to do to get a World Cup spot? He's he's an outright goal scorer, top goal scorer in the league at the moment this season. He was joint last season. He's banging in goals for fun. He's got 20 goals now, I think, in the calendar year or something stupid. What more does he have to do? Okay, he's not going to start any games for Mexico anytime soon. He's not going to, start a World Cup game, but coming off the bench, having a real impact, there's no one better in my opinion. And I feel like he's at the moment, I trust him to score more than I do Santi Jimenez, especially in the Mexico show. Santi Jimenez has not been great for the Mexican national team. He scored a goal to win a cup, sure, that's in his favour, but he's gone many, many games without scoring for Mexico. I think he's even better form at the moment than Santi Jimenez. And Santi Jimenez is blatantly going to go to the World Cup if he's fit. Obviously, he has to. Outrageous decision from Aguirre. But again, it benefits me from Chivas. Going to the other players, Richie Ledesma. Looks like Jorge Sanchez is the chosen right back for Aguirre in this World Cup. Richie obviously came on last game, but he didn't come on this game. I feel like Jorge Sanchez is going to be the guy. Does Araujo still make it? He's injury prone as AF at the moment, and Huescas as well is only just coming back. So that third right back spot, I think Richie Ledesma hasn't done anything wrong. I think he's done everything. I think he's done very well with the Mexican national team in this last couple of months, and I feel like it would be hard for him if he doesn't go. But again, it does benefit Chivas. He's on form. He's one of our best players at the moment, and if he stays in cool, we might actually win something. The player I think that apart from Raquel that did very well was Brian Gutierrez, outrageously good midfielder. I think he's surprised a little bit. I think he surprised some people a little bit. I think people say he's the Marcel Ruiz replacement. Obviously Ruiz is out now. He's not going to the World Cup. It's similar in play styles and shit. So I feel like Gutierrez has earned his spot. I think he may even start the first game of the World Cup. I think he's that good. I think Aguirre has really been impressed with him, and kudos to him. Made a difficult decision coming to Liga MX to Chivas of all teams. Obviously, he's a childhood Chivas fan because everybody is. He's come into Mexico and thrived. It is a step up from the MLS, especially a team like Chicago. And he's come in and nailed it. He's one of our best players. He's done brilliantly. He's owned the spot in the first team, and he's done the same for Mexico. And I feel like he's the one that's going to be going. And obviously, Piojo Alvarado, I think he's going to go as well. I think Aguirre is limited with his wide options, and I feel like he does like Aguirre. He does like Piojo Alvarado, should I say? So I think Aguirre will choose him. So I feel like at the moment it's just gonna be Rangel, Brian Gutierrez, and Piojo that go, which isn't that bad. Piojo has been average for Chivas. He's been average for Mexico, to be fair, but he's been average for Chivas. I don't think he's a massive loss going into Ligia if he doesn't stay with Chivas. I feel like players, Hugo Cabreros and Yael Padilla. I think they've got lots to prove, and I think they'll come into the team and do well without him. Brian Gutierrez, I think, is going to be a miss. I think he's one of our best midfielders at the moment. He does really well in the team. He will be a miss, but I feel like we got players that we can play and take over for him. I don't think it's a huge miss for Chivas. And then obviously Tala. Wally came in, played a friendly against Atlas. I think Wally's done alright for pretty much every single game he's been called up to do. The only reason Wally, I think, is still at Chivas is because he's been basically promised, you're going to be playing the Ligia. If we make it to Ligia, you're going to be playing it, because obviously Talavera was always going to go to Mexico for the World Cup. So otherwise, I think Wally's more than capable of going to any club in this league and be their number one. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. Obviously, game in, game out, he's going to be playing a lot in the Ligia, providing we go deep into it. I think he impressed me against Atlas, and I think he'll do very well, and I don't think it's a massive loss for Talavera, even though Talavera, I think, is having the tournament of his life at the moment with Chivas. Plenty of clean sheets, plenty of saves. Obviously, he saved the penalty recently as well. Game-winning penalty, should I say? He won us the game. I think Wally's a decent goalkeeper. I think he could do really well. Obviously, a big question mark. We've only seen him once or twice every few months or whatever. Seeing him regularly play multiple games is going to be interesting. But that's pretty much it. I think Richard Ledesma deserves to go to the World Cup. I even think Coutinho deserves to be in the squad. And yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, Efrain Alvarez, I think it was always going to be a bit of a long shot for him. Again, it's super important for us to keep him for Ligia. So, look, I feel like those three players are, they're going to be a miss, but I feel like we can deal with them. And all the other players that played all the other Chivas players that played for Mexico in these two games, I think held their heads high. I think they all had really good games. I don't think any of them did anything wrong. And like I said, Ledesma deserves to have his hat in the ring, and so does Coutinho, although I don't think Coutinho is part of this camp. And yeah, I think it'll be very, very disappointing if Ledesma doesn't go. For him, not for me. I think Chivas need him, but I think it's for him. He's proven that he wants to play for Mexico and not any other country, and that right back spot is wide open. Okay, Jorge Sanchez looks like he's going to be the starting right back, but like I said, Araujo, you don't know if he's going to be fit enough for the start of the World Cup. Huescas is only just coming back from being out for like a year or whatever at this point. I think that right back spot is wide open. For him to not get it is a bit of appeal for him. But hopefully he takes that back to Chivas with him and nails on becoming the best right back in the league. I think he already is the best right wing back in the league, should I say. And then, yeah, other news obviously is news are coming out that Pocho Guzman is going to leave Chivas no matter what happens. Obviously, he's on loan at the moment at Pachuca. Apparently, Chivas want to make that loan move permanent. I don't know what his contract situation is. I'm assuming he's got at least another year left. But it's rumours, obviously, that Chivas want Pachuca to keep him or sell him on. Apparently, some of the front officers come out, I can't remember the name to be honest, but I should, but come out and said that he's going to go no matter what. Sucks. I love Pocho. Pocho's my guy right there. He's one of my favourite Mexican players ever. I think, we should have had him the first time with that kind of medical bullshit, whatever test he failed or whatever. He should have been a Chivas player for many, many years, but it wasn't meant to be. And obviously he had one really, really good tournament where he was our best player. I think it was the tournament we got to the final where we lost to Tigres. I think he was phenomenal in that tournament, but he's not been the same since. The club and the team have moved on from players like Mozo and Pocho, which is unfortunate. I love Mozo too, but if we can cash in on them, great. There's rumours as well, heavy rumours that we're in for Elias Montiel, which is awesome. He's an absolute player that we need. Apparently, Chivas are dead set on getting him. Apparently, Pachuca want 20 million USD for him, which is outrageous. Chivas were criticised for wanting 15 million for Hormiga. Hormiga's the best striker in the league right now. He's been there for at least at least two tournaments. For me, 15 million USD for Hormiga is cheap. But yeah, $20 million. I mean, that's just for Chivas, isn't it? Really, I think they could quite easily sell Montiel to Europe for 10, maybe 11. But they want 20 because it's Chivas, and that's why we've dipped into the Mexican Americans market of late, because we're not out, we're not ruined in the transfer market. And yeah, Chivas get all this criticism for, oh, you buying all the young players. Well, yeah. Well, like, we get charged outrageous fees for players that wouldn't get charged that amount for any other team. But Montiel seems to be a guy, so maybe there's a part exchange with Pocho. Maybe we give them Pocho, they give us Montiel for a little bit less fee. That might be cool, but he comes in, I think I think we're signing him for a defensive mid spot. I think Oso has done alright. Clearly, Oso's form is dipping. I think as well, Milito, I think fancies also less than he did maybe when he first came in. And Montiel, for me, steps into that defensive mid spot. I think he can play centre back as well, which is cool. Milito does like players now, I think, that play multiple positions and, changes positions or whatever. And Montiel, is such a quality player. I think along with, Diego Ochoa, getting Ochoa back, that's imperative for me. And then obviously Denzel Garcia kid, we absolutely have to get him, or at least try. Juarez won't be easy though. They won't, but they won't be cheap basically. Although I think Ochoa, there's still the option for us to get him at least on the cheap. I'm not quite sure what Ochoa's situation is. 1 minute it's a loan, and they've activated the option to buy when we haven't, but we still own him and he's still a loan. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with Ochoa. If you know, let me know in the comments. But I'd love to have Ochoa back. Those three players upgrades this team horrifically, and yeah, like I said, that's pretty much it. I don't want to talk too much about what Mexico did in this game. Very very well done to not lose either games, and they didn't get embarrassed either. And it's very good reassurance that Mexico might actually do something special this season, or in this tournament, should I say. At least they hopefully won't get embarrassed. That's what I want as a Mexico fan. Just don't get embarrassed. Do well, get out of the groups, and then anything else is a bonus for me. But yeah, let me know what you think about the Chivas players that could go to the World Cup. Let me know with Chivas players that I haven't mentioned that you think should be in the World Cup squad. What do you think Mexico could do in the World Cup? Do you think they can get? Do you think they'll get grouped? Do you think they'll get through? How far do you think they'll go? And how do you think Chivas will do in Liguilla? Because Liguilla is coming up really quickly as well. Obviously, we've got another game coming up soon as well this weekend. So I have Tuesday off, so I'll probably do a video on Tuesday. So I might even do an Arsenal video on Tuesday as well, because obviously we've got a game against Southampton in the FA Cup. So a couple of videos coming out Tuesday, Wednesday, so look out for that. And yeah, credit to Mexico. They did well in these two games. And yeah, anyway guys, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. Sorry for a bit longer video, but there's a lot to talk about in this one. And yeah, I'll see you guys probably early next week for the next Liga Makers game. So have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys very soon. Adios.